The energy. Hello, and welcome to Encouraging Words with Renae. This week, we're going to be giving you a little advice. Have you ever noticed how much advice the Bible gives for money? It doesn't take much time at all to find scriptures that give insight about how we earn, how we spend, how we view, and how we give money. For some people, financial struggles are due to not bringing in enough money. For many others, the problem comes from not spending money, or from spending money not doing it wisely. The amount of money they make, rather the amount of money versus the amount of money they spend, it just doesn't compute. It doesn't equal out. It doesn't balance out. Not at all. And so we want to give you a little bit of advice on that money spending, that subject of money spending. I learned many valuable financial lessons over my lifetime as a parent. One of them was, don't place yourself in a financial pickle because of your children. Ugh. We tend to want to give our kids everything. You know, we want them to have things that we didn't have when we were growing up. We want to give them a little bit more to make their life a little bit easier. The Bible talks about leaving an inheritance for your children and your children's children to the next generation. And so we do kind of follow that advice because we want to be givers and we want to be a blessing to our children. And so we tend to do that. But there's a difference between being a blessing to them and leaving yourself in a pickle because you're trying too hard to make the path easy for them and not give them a part to do in their own financial future. Because there is a responsibility for everyone in the area of finances. I believe if we have the means to provide a better education, a better living environment, a better lifestyle for them, we should not withhold that from them, but we shouldn't do it if it's going to leave us in debt. We don't want to be in debt. We don't want to be in the red, like some people say. That's not a good thing. I had opened a joint account with my daughter. This is a life lesson story, and it was because she had left for college, and I found that she always had some reason to spend my money. You know, there would be some in there for her, and then I would leave something in there for me, and I'd say, something for emergencies. But somehow, some way, all the money was always gone, no matter how much I replenished it. It just happened to be on E all the time, on zero balance all the time. So she spent her share, my share, and the emergency funds. So I remember how that made me feel after I would see, that account depleted all the time. And so, remember, children's priorities are different from ours because their idea of an emergency is quite different from what we call an emergency as parents. You say, okay, that is for emergencies only. That credit card is for emergencies only. But somehow they find a way to spend that money on a pair of jeans, and that jeans was the emergency. Or that cell phone was the emergency. Or their latest gadget was the emergency. They saw it at the mall and they just had to have it. So let me tell you, if you find yourself in that position, like I did, I want to give you some friendly advice. Trust me, you're gonna appreciate this advice. First of all, place a time frame on them paying you back if they borrow money from you. Anytime your children borrow, now if you're giving as a gift, that's different. If you are giving a weekly stipend to them that you normally give them so they'll have money for the weekends to go to the movies or to do a little light shopping, then yeah, that's fine. But if you are lending them money, if they're at the point where it's the point in your relationship where they've grown up and you're lending them money, place a time frame on them paying you back, or they will never pay you back. And I promise you that. Monitor that account daily. Like my joint account I had with my daughter, you got to monitor that daily. I wasn't monitoring that account daily. I just checked in on it whenever she would say, oh, I have this textbook I need. And I go, so why don't you go on the account and get the funds? The account's on zero. Yeah. And so that would happen. And I had two daughters. This is so such a real life situation. Two daughters in university at the same time. And so could you imagine replenishing two accounts? I'm telling you, next point, have restrictions. Have restrictions. You get a quarterly financial email from your bank, or some people get it monthly. However you get it, some people check on it all the time. I just wasn't avidly checking on it because I had the relationship with my daughters where we had a trust and we had an understanding. But of course, whenever it comes to money, you still have to be diligent. And don't worry, I learned that lesson quickly and I became very diligent, and things changed after that. But have restrictions. I know I have a financial email that I get from a friend of mine, and he's a financial advisor. And one month it contained an article about talking about the biggest mistakes parents make when paying for college. And I took a copy of that, and that's what I'm sharing with you today, because it's a big part of you learning your lesson. Now, this is me giving you a little advice because I went through the college thing. And so I wanted to just give you some tips. Apart from placing a time frame on them paying you back, monitoring your account, and having restrictions, I'll tell you. But here's the article that he shared with me, and I want to share it with you. It says, parents want to do everything they can to give their kids the best opportunities in life. And some may feel they haven't done a good job if they can't give their student the college experience that they want. Meanwhile, college costs have climbed faster than family income, and we all know that to be true. It's imperative that parents are honest with themselves about what they can afford to protect their kids from borrowing too much. And you have to avoid making these errors. When you're tempted to overextend yourself to send your student to their pricey dream school, keep in mind that you're not doing them any favors by putting the family on a rocky financial footing. True words, very true words. It says, too many parents count on playing catch up with retirement contributions after they pay for college. Some even plan to delay their retirement by several years, only to find themselves with no plan B when their salary is cut or they're laid off. And that's an all too true story where parents make plans and you send your kids to college and you say, well, then I still have my retirement fund that I can use and I will be okay. But we need to remember that things happen. Crises happen. You get laid off, or your God forbid, your salary gets cut and your income level drops, or you get divorced and it's just you and you don't have two incomes combined that's working together to do that, do all the financial business that you need to do, then you're stuck. You're absolutely stuck. And so if that happens, then what do you do? So you can't depend on what ifs. You can't say, oh, I'm going to give them the best career now, best college career now, and then I'll deal with myself later. You have to do both. So even if you have to cut back on them and cut back on you so that you can do both, you have to do both because they both matter. Your retirement matters and their college matters. And so you have to find a way to find, and let me promise you, there are less expensive colleges out there. There's some that are going to cost you 40 grand a year, and then you can find colleges that will cost half that price a year. And so they will have to suck it up and go to a less expensive college. And even in your retirement plan, even if you plan to live off of X amount of money when you retire, you may have to change that amount and adjust your lifestyle just a bit in order to make both of them work. And I'm going to tell you, this was a compromise that I had to come to when it happened to me. And so and by the way, I'm not out of making choices for retirement and making choices for children, because children are there for life. So when I'm saying this, I'm not saying it in past tense. I'm saying it in present. It's a situation that I deal with daily, and I know that other parents are dealing with too. And so the paper goes on to say that it's mind-blowing that the fastest growing segment of the population with students loan people are in their 60s and older. They shouldn't borrow more simply to attend an expensive college or a college with a recognizable name. Instead, you've got to weigh the cost and benefits of a college with your family's financial situation and your students' career goals. Now, that's good advice. It's absolutely great advice. Middle and upper class families who are generally outside the cutoff for need-based financial aid but aren't wealthy enough to bear the full price of the college should be a concern. Too many parents aren't analyzing the costs and returns. Instead, they're scrimping to send their students to a more expensive private college just based off assumptions that they're better than an in-state public college. You really do need to start seeing the college decision for what it is: a hard-edged business decision, and one of the biggest and most important that you and your family will ever make. So Proverbs chapter 21 verse 20 says, "In the house of the wise are stores of choice foods and oil, but a foolish man devours all he has." And all that proverb is saying is, you can't put all your eggs in one basket. And that's wisdom talking here. And so for the simplicity behind the idea to spend less than you earn, the wise will say, but the fool, they spend it all. So this is what we need to keep in mind. Now, for some people, financial struggles are due to not bringing in enough money. And that's true. Some people, their maximum salary for the year is $30,000. And so they don't make enough to be able to divide and conquer. Like some families who are bringing in a $60,000 a year income can be able to say, okay, we can split this in half and we can do this and we can do that. Some people don't have that privilege. And so for many others, the problem comes from not spending money wisely or from spending more money than they make. And we do have those people that want to eat out at restaurants 5 days a week when it is more beneficial if they go to the food store and purchase items and cook their meals. It would be more healthy, possibly, and also it would be less monies. And so you have to make wise financial decisions. So here are 7 tips to follow in making financial decisions. Track your finances. That's number 1. Make a budget and track both your income and your expenses. Once you know where your money is going, you can start looking for opportunities where it could be spent. Number 2, think about the long-term benefits and drawbacks of spending. And so when you see that sale happening at the mall, you have to hold your head straight and keep walking, because those monies that you're going to spend in that store can probably be used on a bill, an electrical bill. You can use it to pay on your credit card. You can make a car payment. You can make a partial mortgage payment, or you can just pay on the interest of your mortgage. So there's so many choices you can make with extra money or monies that's coming in on a monthly basis. So you're going to have to bypass those sales in the mall, and you're going to have to be strong to do it. And I remember that was an issue for me. I've always been focused when it came to spending, and so seeing a sale wasn't a temptation for me, because if I have money set aside for something, that's what it's going to, unless there's some emergency that I have to detour on. But for some folks, it's not. They're not focused, and they can be easily swayed and drawn away. And so it's important that you are focused and you're strong. Okay? Think about the long-term benefits and drawbacks of the spending. You just got to do that. You can't make impulse purchases. Is that thing really worth buying? Is it really worth it? Did you really need another pair of jeans? You've got 4 at home. Did you need another pair of shoes? You get 30 pairs of shoes in the closet. So you've got to think about it. Number 3, only put money on your credit card if you can afford to pay it off each month. That's a principle that I had followed from my very first credit card. And I'll tell you, everyone, like I said, is not strong enough to do that. But it's important that you do that. Put items on your credit card that you know at the end of the month I can pay off, or at the end of 2 to 3 months it's paid off. But if it's going to stretch into 6 months, don't make the purchase. Don't make it. Don't make it at all. It's not worth it. If you pay off your credit card balance each month, you won't incur any interest charges, and it will essentially be the same as paying cash. And that's how I managed my credit card. It was like I was just paying cash, and it didn't matter what kind of card it is, whether it's a card where you earn cash back or, because there's so many out there. It's American Express and all those other cards. And so you've got to make wise financial choices for your family. If you don't pay off your balance each month, the interest accrued can quickly spiral out of control. Number 4, stop trying to impress other people. Keeping up with the Joneses is an expensive and unnecessary pursuit. Buy the things that you yourself enjoy, and don't fall prey to the feeling that you have to spend money in order to impress other people. Forget other people. They don't know your pocketbook. They don't know your monthly expenses, and they don't know your dreams that you want to accomplish. And so the only way you're going to get all those things done is if you stay focused. Stay focused. Stay focused. Number 5, figure out what habits drain your budget. These habits could include expensive hobbies, eating out too much, that's something I already mentioned, spending too much money on clothing, or any other number of financial drains. So figure out what bad habits are costing you your monies, costing your wallet to go empty, go dry quick. Whatever those habits are, cut back on them. Cut back. And do it now, because your retirement is coming. I'm going to promise you it's coming. Number 6, learn to value savings over products. In the end, money invested or money saved will almost always benefit your life more than money spent on products that will wear out or become uninteresting. So, learn to value savings over products. It's important that you have money in your pocket rather than items in your closet. Much more important. Number 7, start investing early. You won't regret it. That's final and best point. Start investing early. You won't regret it. I remember making a few investments in my young 20s, investments that I pulled out of before they matured, and I regretted them big time. And so I'm warning you now, don't pull out of your investments. If they're sound and secure, stay into them, even though, if you're, I'm just putting this money here every month or every year, every 6 months, it will pay off. It will pay off. And so that is my advice to you. A little advice today. You can always learn from somebody's mistake, and you can build a better future if you have a sound financial today. God bless you. Thanks for listening.